Hey y'all, I am just coming on here to remind you that inflammation is not bad. So, this is where the idea of an anti-inflammatory diet or an anti-inflammatory supplement or pushing these antioxidant superfoods all the time or antioxidant supplements, this is not the answer because the inflammation itself is not the problem. What is causing the inflammation is the problem. Inflammation is a healing response in your body. When we are inflamed, we are having an immune response, right? Our bodies are saying something is an invader or a threat or something is damaged and needs to be repaired. That is what inflammation is. So if your inflammation marker is high, it means your body is full of toxins or pathogens, right? And or your body is in a major healing response and is actively healing and repairing and detoxifying, right? So what happens if we just do what we're doing, but then we're like, oh, we just need to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. Let's just push turmeric, right? That's one I see all the time. Oh, let's do green smoothies. They're anti-inflammatory, right? Oh, what goji berries. They're high in antioxidants, right? People take these supplements sometimes that are just these massive lists of extracts from plants like bilberry and blueberry and mangosteen and pomegranate seeds, just these antioxidant smorgasbords. Antioxidants irritate our cells, which releases glutathione and clears out free radicals. That is great, and that is happening at an optimal rate. But when you're taking these massive doses of antioxidant supplements, you are just irritating your cells over and over and over again without dealing with the fact of what is releasing so many free radicals and causing your chronic inflammation in the first place. Right? So we need to zoom out, you guys. We really need to see the big picture. And we really need to look at if we are chronically inflamed, we don't just want to eat an anti-inflammatory diet. We don't just want to take anti-inflammatory or antioxidant supplements. We want to get to the root of what is inflaming us in the first place. So, an anti-inflammatory diet might make you feel a little better in the first place, but actually, if you are suppressing your inflammation, you are not going to be healing. That is why I tell people, do not worry about your labs. Like, do not worry about inflammation. And I feel like this is it's such a fad, just kind of word now. Like, I'll be with clients and I'll ask them like how they're feeling. They're like, oh, I just feel super inflamed. And like, that doesn't really give me a lot of information because inflammation can manifest in literally like every organ and system in the body in 100 different ways. So, and inflammation is not always a bad thing, right? Like if a cut didn't get inflamed, it wouldn't heal, right? If our eyes didn't get red and swollen and irritated when we get like a big puff of dust into our face, if we're like clearing out an attic or something, we would then absorb all of that. So we really need to rethink the way we're looking at inflammation. Inflammation is very commonly called the root cause of chronic disease these days. But that's not quite right. It's inflammation from deeper root issues that is causing the chronic disease. The inflammation is like a middleman. That is your body like trying to manage the toxin or the stressor or the pathogen, right? So we need to stop blaming the inflammation. The inflammation is actually our friend, right? And in fact, again, if you take anti-inflammatories all the time or you're like icing, swollen muscles, or you're pounding the antioxidant supplements, eating all these foods that are considered anti-inflammatory foods, you could be actually suppressing a healing response because inflammation is actually how your body heals. Now, what you do need to do is make sure you are not just getting chronic inflammation pouring into your body because you have a deeper issue in your body that is not being addressed. Your body is just chronically inflamed and stuck in this stress loop that it is not able to get out of, right? So we do need to make sure we're dealing with any potential imbalance in the gut microbiome. We need to make sure we are avoiding toxic exposure as much as possible, supporting your detox pathways. You need to make sure that you are getting plenty of the nutrients that your body needs to do that healing and repair work. We need to make sure that we are not exposing ourselves to unnecessary stress and toxic relationships in our environments. I mean, there's so many things that we can do to reduce what then causes an inflammatory response, right? So those are the things we need to work on. But this concept of just like avoiding inflammation, and inflammation is bad, and we need to just like de-inflame ourselves. I mean, it's just missing the point, because then what happens is people start having healing responses, right? People start detoxing, they start repairing tissue, right? They start fighting off chronic infections, and they get inflamed because it's a healing response. And they're like, oh my gosh, what I'm doing isn't working, it's making me worse, right? So I hear that all the time too. People will be like, oh, I tried doing that diet or detoxing in that way and it made me worse. If that inflammation was an acute response because you are now giving your body the support it needs to heal, yeah, you are going to get more inflamed because your body is healing and repairing tissue, right? But that will often come in different waves and it'll manifest a little differently than maybe the chronic inflammation you were experiencing before. But these waves of symptoms is very normal through the healing process. And in fact, we are not going to fully recover unless we let our body go through those responses. I encourage you to watch my video on Herxheimer reactions and die-off detox and inflammation. I have a lot of information on here about it. If you want help through the process, look into our immune resilience coaching program. We are here to give you another perspective that is more realistic and ultimately more helpful for your long-term recovery.